Oh shit. What's up, everybody? For most of y'all that have been, I guess, paying attention, uh, got to fish the California State Championship. It was pretty, it was pretty tight. I did okay. I got my limit on both days, but a lot of that had to do with the boater that I was with. And man, I'll tell you, I practiced Friday, so I towed my boat all the way up here. You want to talk about major anxiety or whatever, but I got it here, and then New Maloney's is probably the biggest lake I've ever put like my boat on, and it was pretty intimidating to say the least. But I have these issues when I had these little anxiety spurts, right? So I think like the last time it happened to me, I went to Kauai, the ramp that I wanted to go to because it's a little bit easier to get to. I can take my time. The boat dock was out of the water, and so I was like, damn, I'm gonna go to the other one. But the other one was a madhouse, and like I kind of froze. Like I even walked down to the ramp to kind of like picture how I was gonna do everything, because it kind of helps me, plan A through Z instead of just winging it. I get back to the parking lot and I can't move. And my chest starts hurting, can't breathe, all this other stuff. And I was like, damn, I'm just gonna go home, And the craziest thing happens, like when you just jump right into stuff. I was like, well, shit, I already brought snacks and shit, so I gotta go, you know what I mean? And I ended up doing the dumbest shit ever. Like I drove an hour and a half to Pine Flat from where I was at. I had never launched my boat at Pine Flat, a dock I didn't want to launch at, and I ended up getting on the water anyway. Couldn't really enjoy the day because my chest was hurting and everything like that, but it kind of didn't make any sense. And it was the same thing. I was like, I drove my boat up there, I seen it, and I was like, oh my god. And I was like, man, why did I tow my boat this many hours to just leave it sitting in a parking spot? So either way, I got on the water. I learned a couple of things, uh, so that I would be able to catch stuff day one. I was just looking for a bite because I was getting nervous. Like I'm like, oh, for whatever at new lakes. I can read the water, but when you're a co-angler, you can't really determine like where you're going and stuff like that. So it's really you're back seating, and you got to be real creative. But this season, I had to probably be the luckiest co-angler. I drew some of the best boaters, pro anglers, guys to where if you didn't even ask them a question, just watching them, you learn so much stuff, right? And the state tournament, the state championship was no different. My first draw, let's just say I got a really good boater, and man, he had put me on some fish, and for the first time, usually I'll catch like 1, 4. I zeroed a couple tournaments, both day one and day two. I got my limit, which was, a milestone for me. For some of y'all that maybe, oh, you're fishing gods or whatever, you're like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. What the fuck ever, man. Uh, I made progress. This is my first year, and getting to go through all the tournaments and fish the state championship was probably the dopest shit like ever. Like building up to the travel and where I was gonna stay, and not having all of your stuff, having to retie, having all the conversations, and all the anglers and co-anglers, like what their game plan was, and just learning, man. I went into the season with maybe three techniques that I had the utmost confidence in, and 2 out of those 3 pretty much failed me the whole season, and it was because I was how I was used to employing it, right? Um, but it was super dope, man. I don't know where I placed that overall, but I'm just glad that I know I'm not at the bottom, which is whatever. Even if I was at the bottom, I still got to go to the state championship. I'm just ready to see what happens next year, and get back to the lab, get back to practicing and stuff like that, so that I can get better. But this whole season, the co-angling, fishing tournaments has significantly made me a better angler, and it makes it more interesting because now, you know, I got 14 rods, I got 14 different techniques on. You know, I could throw any one of them, but it's not about just randomly throwing them. It's I'm making a decision, and that's what I learned from my boater this last time. He said most of the time, man, it comes down to a decision. Either it's the right one or the wrong one. And he's like, you educate yourself enough basically to try to make the right one more often than not, and then not be stubborn and stick with your stuff. That's definitely what happened to me my first tournament. I got bit on something that I had confidence in, and they kept short striking the worm. Like where the hook was at, I was using a 3-out hook, a zoom trick worm, and they hit it right behind it. And some reason I get mentally locked out there, and some of the simplest shit, like I just can't do. And my boater, really, really good angler, cool ass dude, he's like, yo, check your worm. I was like, oh yeah, check the worm, duh. So I look at the worm, and you know, it's getting bit right behind the hook. And I knew that all I had to do was cut about that much off of the worm, and I'd have linked up. But I was like, no, fuck that. I'm going to get this to work. And I zeroed that tournament. I got really good bites, and I didn't pull a fucking thing into the boat. And that was my first tournament. I'm like, well, shit, man, maybe this isn't for me. And, you know, y'all know me. I'm like, okay, I get to a certain level, get decent, and then I fucking quit. Because you just want to quit when you're, like, at the top type shit. Not like, coming back and fighting after you're 40 years old thinking you're going to make a comeback or some shit like that. Some people can do it. I'm not that guy. But yeah, anyways, so today was a rough day. It rained. Things that worked day 1 definitely didn't work day 2, which I kind of knew was going to happen because how the fish are transiting. We had a little bit of rain. I learned that when you have electrical current, i.e. a thunderstorm, near you, your line does some really funny shit. And every time you touch yourself with your rod after bringing it in, you get shocked. Super weird. Anyway, just wanted to tell you guys, like, you know, I'm done. You know, I'll probably be making my way back to back home either tomorrow or Tuesday, and then you know, take a couple of days off and then get back to practicing for next year. See if there's any other tournaments, just random ones, so I can keep my game up. And that's it. But the real reason is I didn't film a video last week, and I didn't film one yesterday because I had like 3 hours of sleep and I was super tired. But I said I was gonna go over the drop shot, right? So actually, first out, shout out to Duke Holman, and Mike Martinez. I was in jiu-jitsu class one day. I was talking about the tournaments and stuff and what I wanted to do, and Mike was like, "Yo, you know we got a guy here that does Duke," and I was like, "You know, Duke's one of the purple belts down there and stuff." And so I talked to Duke, and Duke put me on, and the rest is history. Had it not been for those two cats, it would have just been a kind of a dream that just stayed in the head type stuff, and I'd have talked about it and probably never done it. So that's, you know, I appreciate you guys. So I'm gonna go over a couple of things that I got hit on during this tournament, and I said I was gonna go over the drop shot. I had some bad luck with the drop shot this year, but still the drop shot is by far my favorite and a technique that I'm most confident in. I just didn't know how to employ it while a boat was burning the bank, and I've learned that now. It's no longer my crutch. It's more of a, okay, shit got tough. This is what it is. This is a guarantee. You know what I mean? I have other things that I can throw now because of going through the season. I know why to throw them, when to throw them, and to throw an oddball when none of that shit works for no reason whatsoever. So, couple of things I got bid on with a lot of people don't really talk too much about on the regular fishing scene. Texas rig, everybody knows that. That was my brother's thing. He told me to get into it, and I was like, nah, drop shot. I love the Texas rig, 1/4 ounce weight, 5/16 depending on what's happening for me. I like to let it fall fast, drag it heavy. Carolina rig is something that I threw on. I was like, man, I don't really feel like casting this shit. Carolina rig really kind of bailed me out a couple of times this tournament. And one thing that I'm really liking right now is it's called a Tokyo rig. Let me see if I got one. Hold on. All right. So Tokyo rig. don't mind my super secret bait on here right now. I'm just kidding. It's all it is a Yum 4-inch dinger. Great bait. Everybody likes the Yamamotos. Only reason I got into this is because Dix was like, yo, 5 for 5. And I'm like, yo, I can afford that shit. And then the rest is history, man. I've been kicking it on these. This is Morning Dawn. I think it's called Elder's Magic. And there's Ozark Smoke. That's my boo thing, Ozark Smoke. Anyways, Tokyo rig, right? So it's a Texas rig with a wire, and you put a weight on the bottom. I choose a 1/4 ounce, especially for the back of the boat, and more often than not, you put a 3/16 ounce slow fall, and you keep it above stuff. For me, being a drop shot guy, this is just a super shallow drop shot, right? And it's Texas rig, so it's essentially a Texas rig where the weight is not here. And the cool thing about this is it keeps everything slightly elevated, so when you got a bunch of bullshit, grass, all that other stuff, it keeps you slightly elevated. And as you're kind of popping it, you know, it kind of does its thing, but it doesn't dip and dive like a drop shot would with the weight at the bottom. It keeps it kind of suspended. This is for those finicky fish that like, ooh, I don't want to touch anything on the ground. You know, for the Texas rig's not working, go and throw you a Tokyo rig. You'll thank me later, I promise you. You can throw anything on this, just like you could a Texas rig, a creature bait, whatever. But man, if you ain't checked this out yet, you need to check it out. VMC makes complete kits for this. And no, VMC ain't paying me. I ain't that good yet. Maybe one day. But Tokyo rig hit it for me. Best hook sets that I had. This is a 2/0 Tokyo rig. And that was it. So Texas rig, Carolina rig, Tokyo rig, Ned rig. And then for some reason I decided to just go on back to my roots and throw a drop shot this day. And man, was that a good choice. I also got another recommendation from my boater. I'm gonna keep that to myself. But that shit helped a lot. It got me my limit right towards the end. But you know, it was probably one of the best experiences I've had fishing, and I'll definitely be back next year. It's very costly, so I got to save up a little bit more next year. But man, I learned so much in such a short amount of time. I can't wait to see what happens a couple of years from now. But like I said in my last video, I'll show you guys a drop shot. This is a favorite technique. I was introduced to this technique by the homie Dave Brook, man. I think he's still on deployment right now. Dave, if you do get a chance to watch it, thanks for showing me this shit, because this elevated my fishing game and everybody else that I'm told about it. I didn't know what the hell a drop shot was. I didn't know what a lot of things were, but Dave was like, yo, throw this on, let it sit. And originally I would do it with a 3/16 ounce weight. Right now I got a 1/4 ounce rattle shot. If y'all want to know about these rattle shots, hit me up. I'll let you know. And I use a number 1 6-cent hook. That was my son. My son is crazy about terminal tackle. I was just like, yo, if it stabs some shit, I'm going to put it on. But when Gabe was here, you know, before he went to college and everything, man, the dude was always looking at terminal tackle hooks, weights, all that other stuff. And then we stumbled upon this. It's a very thin wire hook. So you can see this one's kind of mangled because your boy don't be using the drag correctly most of the time. And I don't give a fuck. As long as they got it in their mouth and they're not coming off, I'm yeeting them in the boat. So, but yeah, number 1 6-inch drop shot hook. There's a lot of them out there. Owner makes really good ones. Spear Point makes great ones. But I choose to use this one. Great hookup ratio on this. And I really can't complain. If I do need to go through some stuff, I will use a thicker gauge hook. That's about it. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how I tie this, because I got to retie everything. First thing, rod. I went over this last time. I use most applications I'll use a medium spinning rod, obviously. My son is crazy. He throws that shit on a bait caster with braid and still catches fish. Don't understand it. But this right here, my brother got this for me. So I was like, man, this is, you know, when I get the money, and and the next thing you know, on my birthday, I got the FTX feather. So this is a Phoenix FTX feather. Yeah, I'm with Kistler, but I'm still building up to get some of them rods. And there's a lot of other rods out there that are good and serve their purpose. Kistlers are great. And I probably will get like a chromium or something, just to see the difference. But this feather Phoenix, the FTX is an excellent rod. It's a true fast tip, like I explained in the last video. Great backbone, and the sensitivity is ridiculous. You will feel everything you hit with anything that's on here. I have 10-pound braid to let me see, 8-pound fluorocarbon, tied line to line with a uni knot. You don't have to do the braid to fluoro right off the bat. Some people like it, some people don't. I'll tell you, I started with straight fluoro, and it kind of changed the profile of the feeling. I had to relearn some things, but the reason why I like braid the fluoro is that if I'm gonna go a standard, 10-pound braid, which is pretty strong, to 8-pound fluorocarbon, say, hey, the 8 pounds not working it for me. Maybe I gotta drop to 6. Maybe I gotta drop to 4. I don't think I'll ever do that, but either way, it's as simple as tying on a 7 and some change foot a leader, and there you go. You change your profile. Super easy, instead of having one type line the whole time on your rod. I'll step it up to 10 sometimes if it's really rough, but honestly, if I'm going to step it to 10, I'll probably use something else. I usually like to stay in this 8-pound range. If you're looking to save money, fluorocarbon, Yuzuri hybrid, not bad. Nylon hybrid, not bad. I prefer CR red label, because I can't afford the gold label or the Tatsu right now, because that shit's like $30 for like 50 fucking yards. Not doing it. Maybe one day, but let me go ahead and bite this off because I don't have my pliers in here, and I'll show you guys how to tie this, and then I'll stop talking. Just give me a second. Don't bite your line. Use your pliers. Alright. Let me go and get a fresh hook so I don't end up hooking myself in the mouth. Alright. Drop shot hook. Now, there's a couple of different things you could do with a drop shot, man. There's a wacky drop dead Ned. I swear to God, drop shot is everything you could ever need in a bait. You could do so many things with it. You can even run it on a medium heavy rod. A lot of people thought I was crazy for that, but around here, but I actually did some research because I thought I was crazy too. But I was running it on a medium heavy rod, 7 foot 3 inch, fast tip, and I was running it with a straight shade hook, like a one aught, and it's called a Bubba shot, I guess. So I was running in a lot of thick weeds and stuff. I got tired of losing my shit, so like I beefed it up before I had done any research, and apparently it's been a thing since maybe before I existed. But I felt like I wasn't crazy anymore because there's pros that do it. So I was like, hell yeah, that's what I get for thinking. I probably should have watched the video because it would have been a lot quicker. All right, anyway, so drop shot. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get your life together. There you go. All right. You're gonna take your piece. I do recommend, like I said, you do straight fluorocarbon to begin if you're gonna try this technique. It'll just work out better for you, and you don't have to worry about retying a leader once you run out of space. It's one of the most annoying things to do in the back of the boat, because your boater, while you're trying to tie your stuff, he could be catching a fish and you need to get the net, so you gotta drop your stuff. There could be something else going on and you gotta drop your stuff, and you just can't even get a proper knot. All right, so we'll take our number 1 hook here, 6-inch drop shot hook. Owner, I think theirs was like a number 2 that I had. It's a thicker gauge hook. So what you do, and what I'm gonna do to tie this on first is I'm just gonna tie a polymer knot. My brother's the one that recommended to me, because all I knew was like I think it's called the improved clinch knot. You just twist the shit up, put it through the thing. It's the only knot I remember that my dad taught me when I was real young, and I don't like looking shit up, so I kept using it, and then I was wondering why I was getting snapped off. What you're gonna do with this is, if you can loop it, but a lot of these have small eyes, so you take your line and you're gonna put it through, right, and give yourself enough slack, and then you're gonna take this bottom part, you're gonna run this back through, making your loop. If you can do it all at once, do it all at once. Me, that's how I like to do it. So once I get to this point, you're gonna have a loop just like this, okay? And then what I like to do is I like to put my finger here and let this slide up a little bit so that I can determine how long my bottom leader length is going to be. And I'll show you what that is here in a second. Typically, I don't go any more than 12 inches. There are going to be instances where you're going to drop down to 6, 8, even a little bit longer, 16, but I typically keep it here between 12 and 14 inches, right? So now that I have that, what I'm going to do, and excuse me if my hands don't work, I'm getting bit by mosquitoes, this shit hurts. And you're going to form a loop, okay? You're going to put this loop through here. You're just basically almost like you would tie your shoes, right? And you're going to have this piece. Now what you're going to do is you're going to kind of form this, but you're not going to cinch it down yet, okay? You're going to take this loop that you've created, and you're going to put this around the bottom of the hook till it comes up like this, okay? Sometimes I get lazy, I don't wet my knots, but always wet your knot, right? And then what you're going to do is pull it very, very slightly so you don't burn the line. Hit it again. Boom. You're going to have a nice little seat right there. And this is a Palomar knot. I know you guys can't really see it, but great knot. I use it for pretty much everything. Don't really know any other knots. So, all right. So now that you got this gigantic, ridiculous looking tag end, right? This is the bread and the butter and the sweet spot of the drop shot, right? You're going to take this line, and as your hook is facing up, you're going to go ahead and you're going to put that down through that hook, the hook eye, sorry. Boom. And you're going to pull this, okay? Some people, sometimes I end up pulling it underneath. Don't pull it underneath. Just keep it right there. And you're going to pull this nice and snug. Make sure you're good to go, right? Next thing you're going to do is you're going to find whatever weight you're going to use, right? Now, a lot of people use tungsten weights. I have a bunch of tungsten weights, and I will tell you they are quite a bit more sensitive, but they're also quite a bit more expensive. And you can do lead. Lead works just fine in most applications, so you don't got to go immediately go and buy a bunch of fucking, tungsten weights where it's every time you lose a rig, it's like $6-7. You can just go ahead and get you a regular little Eagle Claw, 3/16, quarter ounce. But me, I use primarily what's called a rattle shot. Only place I've been able to find these, they're by Drop Zone, is on Tackle Warehouse. They're a little bit more pricey, but the reason why I do it is because it gives you a little bit of noise. So I don't know if you guys can hear that. So as you're dragging it and it's hitting, it's a little bit of noise. Sometimes you go silent, sometimes you just need a little bit of click. This right here is a cylinder style weight with a clip. Some people prefer the round eye to tie in because it stays on better. But these make it super simple. All you do is you run that through just a little bit. I can actually get it there. And you pull up. Boom. Now you have your drop shot. Now as this hangs, you want to make sure that this hook is perpendicular to what's going on. You don't want it all flimsy or anything like that. And then in terms of baits, let's see what we got here. It's definitely way too big of a worm, but I like to nose hook mine. So what'll happen is you just basically take the nose of your worm, okay, and you put it through like this, and that's all she wrote. Now, obviously, you're going to see that the hook is going to hang down, but once it hits the water, especially if you're using a good floating bait, even one that sinks a little bit, the water, and then when this hits the bottom, it'll be doing like this. So as you kind of jig your rod, it'll be doing this, and for some reason, the fish can't stand it, and they hit it. It's all about what color you're going to use. You can Texas rig it, and you can also wacky rig it. It's called a wacky drop. You can use an O-ring, but for me, it's usually because my worm is beat up and I want to try something else. And I want to get another use out of it. And same thing, it'll be kind of here, and it's a really funny kind of action, and you're gonna pop it a little bit harder than you normally would. But super simple. That's your drop shot, man. So if you haven't tried it out yet, especially if you're in the Central Valley, Kauai, a lot of these lakes are drop shot lakes, man. And you could put anything on here. You could put a creature bait on, a worm. If you guys use live bait, you can put whatever live bait on there. I don't use live bait, just artificial. My favorite, if I'm going to pick one thing that I'm going to go here, is a drop shot roller worm. And a very close second is a Zoom finesse worm. There's a lot of worms out there. Do what's best for you. But those are the ones that have got me a lot of success, especially these last couple of days. But just like I said, drop shot. Showed you guys how to tie it. You got any questions? Hit me up in the what the hell is that thing called? Whatever chat. You know what I'm talking about. I'm fucking tired. But yeah. That's really all I got, man. Thanks for all you cats that reached out and kind of like more stoked than I was to go to the tournament and everything like that. I'm just glad that I went. I'm glad that I fished it and ready for next year. And you know, hopefully some more people get into fishing, man. It's literally probably one of the only things that I do right now, and man, it's working for me right now, keeping me calm, keeping me on the up and up, so I don't end up losing my shit and doing something stupid. So, other than that, man, if you guys did watch or you're gonna watch, man, I appreciate you guys. Obviously, again, that's not what I do it for. If there's any other questions that you guys have or anything, and like I said, I'm no pro by any means. I'm still getting into the angling thing. I'm still kind of building up type stuff, but there is a lot of things that I have learned that I am willing to share, and maybe you got something that I could use. You know what I mean? By all means, please hit me up. I'm always trying to learn, and I'm always down to tell you guys exactly what I learned, what's been working for me, why I think it's working, even though some of that shit might sound crazy. It just keeps me motivated to keep doing what I actually love to do. So if you haven't been fishing and you want to start, go ahead. You don't got to get no expensive shit. Fuck you. Like I said, I was killing the shit on a drop shot on a $25 Lose American Hero 2-piece 6'6". Shit said medium. I didn't know what the fuck action was. It just said medium. It didn't say fast, slow, you stupid. It didn't say anything like that. And I was fucking slaying it on that. So $25, and I still got that rod. The higher you move up, a lot of the time, yeah, there's a lot of subtleties that become very important. But just to start, you just need something that's going to hook them, not going to break. And if it does break, it's not going to break the bank. You can go get another one. If you guys want price range options and stuff like that, or the things that I have, hit me up. I'll give you some recommendations. Again, take it or leave it. Don't really care. I just know what I got, what I can afford. I ain't got really all that much money, but what I have, I make it work. So, all right. Well, that's it, man. Till the next one. I'll see you guys.